Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. This is Reverend Frances Faden, and I'm so grateful that we get to spend this time together helping you magnify your miracles. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that I promised I was going to talk about. I'm going to share with you the 4 ways that spiritual journaling really supports your spiritual growth. But even more than that, I want to share something with you that's so deep and true in my heart. And it really is the reason why it's important for me to help you learn how to change your story and how changing your story really can change your life. But, I've been doing if you're on my email list, you'll know that I've been doing some free workshops on spiritual journaling and changing your story. If you're not on my email list, just go to francesfaden.com and you can get on my email list. I have a beautiful MP3 there that you can download as my gift to you to help you go through this beautiful process with Mother Mary helping you to manifest your deepest heart's desire. But what I've been doing in these workshops is I've been teaching people how spiritual journaling can connect them to spirit, and also how it can help them really change that story. And that's so important to me because I am someone who knows what it's like to be stuck in a painful story. And if I can do anything to help you get out of being stuck in a painful story, that's what I want to do. Because I know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I know what it's like to be so far deep into that tunnel that you forget what light is. I know what that's like. And so that's why I created Mother Mary's Write Your Miracle program. Yeah, I have all this marketing stuff that I've been doing to help people get interested in it. But at the bottom of all of it, underneath all of it, is my deep desire to help you, to free you, not just from things that are limiting you, but stories that are painful, and how you can change that story into a story that is miraculous, a story that's empowering, a story that's going to be healing for you. That's really what I'm going to be talking about. So let's just take a deep breath together today before I go any further. Breathing in the energy of expansion, breathing out anything you no longer need. And we do this to just really bring our awareness into this present moment as we give ourselves permission to let go of anything else and just become open and receptive. And knowing that whatever you need to hear today to help you magnify your miracles is exactly what you're going to be hearing. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude. And we can begin. All right, my friend. So we've been talking about the power of spiritual journaling, what it's like, how you can use that to really help you connect with spirit. I've been sharing some different things. And one of the things that I promised I was going to talk to you today about is the 4 things that really help foster your spiritual growth. Why it is that writing, specifically writing, and just writing with a pen, not typing, but writing with a pen and a piece of paper, why it is that I have found to be the fastest and most effective way to change your energy and to help you grow spiritually. So I'm just going to give you these 4 right now. The first one is that writing, when you take the time to write with a pen and a piece of paper, it slows you down and it brings you into the present moment, right? So a lot of times your mind is going all over the place and it brings you into the present moment. Now, how many spiritual paths have you heard talk about being here now, be in the moment, present moment awareness, all of that, right? So many different traditional paths or spiritual paths have that as a tradition of they teach people how to get into the present moment. Now, you might be somebody like me with a very active mind, and just sitting and might not be the thing that works for you that well. And maybe you even have given up on, can I even do that? And I'm here to tell you that if you start a spiritual journaling practice, in a very specific way, I mean, you can just do it your way, but if you do it the way that I teach it, it will really help you get present with yourself and get into this moment. And that is the doorway to everything else. So you let go of worrying about yesterday, you stop projecting into the future, you just come into the now. And as the great Louise Hay used to say, the point of power is always in the now. It's always in the now. The second way that spiritual journaling can really help your spiritual growth is it offers you a way to get really honest with yourself. Really honest with yourself. So when it's just you and a piece of paper, you can write whatever you need to write. You can say whatever it is that you need to say, right? And so maybe I'll give you an example that a lot of my clients will tell me, like they've been trying to manifest something, or they've been trying to get a job, or, something that they think that they want or that they should have. And through the process of doing spiritual journaling, and again, getting present with themselves, often the truth comes out and they'll be like, yeah, I didn't really want that job. I just didn't know what else to do. I was feeling really scared or whatever. And then when we can clear that out and help them get clear about what's actually true for them, that's when their energy starts to change and things start to really shift for them. But being honest with yourself, this is so important. Oftentimes, especially as women, we agree to things that we don't actually feel good about. We agree to do things and we say yes to things to kind of people please. And this is a way that you can really get honest with yourself, because it's just you and that piece of paper. And at the end of the day, if you don't want anyone else to read that piece of paper, you can always rip it out of your journal and throw it out or go burn it. But it's a chance for you to be really honest with yourself. The third way that journaling, specifically spiritual journaling, can be so helpful for your spiritual growth is if you do keep an actual journal and you're not, ripping out your pages, but you keep a journal, which is what I do. I have journals for, decades at this point. You can look back and you can see evidence of your spiritual growth. So you can look back a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and you can see like, oh, wow, remember 2 years ago when I was totally like so many weeks I was writing about that subject, and it's like, that's not an issue for me anymore. Or remember when I was really struggling to meditate, and like, now I just meditate every day. You can start to see that. And evidence is really important. Evidence is so important because it builds your faith. And that's one of the key ways that spiritual journaling can really help you, is when you can look back on your journey, it really builds your faith, because you start to see how it is that the universe is dancing with you and how you really navigate the spiritual path, which is really, really important. And then the final way, the fourth way, which is one of the core things I teach and what I'm going to be teaching in the Write Your Miracle program, is you connect with spirit through writing. Now, just writing in and of itself doesn't necessarily connect you with spirit if you're writing out your to-do list or whatever. But if you set that intention when you're sitting down to journal that you're going to be connecting with spirit, you will connect with spirit. And if you, again, there's a technique that I teach of how to get that response when you're journaling. I call it writing your prayers. You can write your prayers, and then you'll start to hear or feel or sense the response to those prayers. Now, everybody's different, and I'd have to coach you individually to see what it is for you. But I can tell you, I've never had anybody that I've given my specific guidance to about journaling come up with nothing. I've never had anybody come up with nothing. Sometimes it's different, but everybody has something. And when you have that direct connection to spirit, and you can sit down and you can write in your journal, and you're going to get an answer, you're going to get your guidance for the day, miracles start happening. Because remember, we just talked about faith. Well, this is where you go from believing to knowing. You start getting that direct connection with spirit, with your own higher self. You're now connected to the field of infinite possibilities, and you can get downloads, all kinds of things can come. So those are the 4 ways, my friends, that I believe spiritual journaling, and I'm sure there's many more than that, but these are the 4 that I think are so important, bringing you into the present moment, helping you to be honest with yourself, giving you evidence of your own progress, which builds your faith, and then connecting you to spirit, connecting you to the field of infinite possibilities, where you can start, downloading all kinds of info and really getting into that realm where anything's possible for you. Now, the other thing that I'm going to share with you, again, it comes from my heart, is that we are born into a world of stories. We're born into a world of stories. Whether you're born as a boy or a girl, you're immediately born into a world of stories. Whether you're born in, uh, you know, a country that's considered a first world country or a third world country, you're born into a world of stories. However, your family has been living, there are these stories that are passed down to you, and you're living them right now. And sometimes these stories are really empowering and are really helping you. And a lot of times, stories can limit you and even tear you down. So we all have stories that have been passed down to us. Like you'll often hear people say, oh, all of us in the Smith family, we're all, rugged individualists, or we're all people that, volunteer, or whatever the story might be. There's a story of like, we're the Smith family, we do this. And that can be helpful, if it's a positive thing. But sometimes you don't fit into what that little story is. It can make you feel not good enough. It can make you feel alone if you want to do something other than what that story is. And it's really important for you to recognize that it's just a story and that you can change a story like that. Now, you might be saying to me, well, how is that even possible? And I'm going to share with you how it's possible, because I've been doing this for a really long time. I myself have been stuck in really painful stories that have caused really unhappy results in my life for a long period of time. And I did a lot of different things over the course of my life to heal. I've tried all different kinds of modalities. I've done just about everything that you can do. And I find for myself personally, the thing that has been most effective has been doing my spiritual journaling, doing my writing my miracles into being has been one of the most powerful things I can do. So if I were to say to you right now, you need to change your subconscious beliefs, you'd probably look at me and be like, oh, okay, but how do I do that? Doesn't that sound kind of like heavy and cumbersome? Like, oh, I have to do that. And if you ask somebody how to change your subconscious beliefs, you know what they're going to tell you? They're going to tell you, oh, you have to do a lot of repetition. You have to repeat things over and over and over and over again, because your subconscious mind, it learns by repetition, which it actually does, which is why when we tell ourselves a story over and over again, it's not so helpful, or it can be very helpful. So if you think that you have to do all this like deep dive inner work, it's daunting. But if I were to just say to you, here, take my pen, write a different ending to that story. You probably could do that, couldn't you? You could take, if I told you to take your favorite movie and write a different ending to that story, or take a movie that was really bad, write a different ending to that story. You could do that. You'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to have the heroine do this, and she's going to meet this person, and then they're going to go here, and then this is going to happen, right? Because it's a story. Everybody knows how to change a story. Everybody knows about characters and similar, like everybody knows how to do that. It doesn't mean that you're like a novelist. It means that we are wired for stories. Stories are the fabric of the world. And your mind is really oriented towards stories. Stories are really memorable. They stick in your mind. They have a tendency to evoke a lot of emotion, which is why it can be difficult to change a painful story, is there's a lot of emotion that's stuck there. And I know this very, very well. So I'll give you an example of a painful story. I'm not going to tell you all of it, but I'll share with you one painful story that I had. And one of the painful stories that I had, I got from my mom. My mom was a single mom because my dad died when I was really, really young. And he was actually pretty young when he died. And my mom, didn't get remarried, and she raised us on her own. And my mom worked 6 days a week. My mom worked Monday through Saturday. And on Sunday, she like did the laundry and all of that. So I grew up in a family that didn't take vacations and didn't really do a whole lot of fun. And my role model of what it was to be a working woman was somebody who worked all the time and kind of was in this energy of almost like drudgery. Now, I know my mom didn't want that to be the case, but that's what she ended up really modeling for me. So I ended up with this story of you have to work all the time. You have to always be working. You have to work all the time. That's what life is as an adult. You're always working. And I would find myself either rebelling against that and like quitting jobs and being like, I'm not going to do that, or then getting myself into a position where that's all I did. So I kept kind of being in this push pull. And it wasn't until I went through my spiritual journaling process, the one that I teach in my program, that I thought of a different answer. Like, what else could be possible? And I prayed about it. I was like, how am I going to shift this? How am I going to shift this? How can I shift this story? And through the process of journaling, it came to me. I was able to download a possibility. I was able to tap into the field of possibility, and the universe directed me. And I learned something about one of the ways that I could do my business. Now, I had been doing my business the way I'd been doing it for years and years, if not decades. And then one day I got a download through this journaling process of like, oh, what if you did it differently? And that's when I started incorporating into my coaching program a way that actually works better for my clients and it works better for me, where I see them 3 weeks in a row. And then the last week of the month, I'm off. I call it 3 weeks on, 1 week off. Now, up until the time I did that, I had just scraped by to get into that 6-figure mark. Like, it took me so long to get to 6 figures because I had all this inner resistance about like working, I got to work hard. And so the idea of making more money just felt like more work, right? That was my story. My story was like, oh, there's going to be more work. I can't do more work. I'm already maxed out. But when I changed my story and I was like, what if I don't have to work all the time? What if I gave myself a week to myself and I rejuvenated myself? And that's what I did. So, I have coaches that I've worked with that say, oh, you should take that week and you should write your book and you should take that week and you should be the CEO of your company, all that stuff. And I was like, I take that week as an introvert and I recharge my batteries. And that's when I went from just barely over 6 figures to multiple 6 figures, working less time. How is that possible? How is it possible? I changed my story. Now, I've had a lot of other really painful stories about relationships and about finances, about all kinds of things. But I've been able to really shift those stories because I connect with spirit and I'm able to do my writing in a very specific way. And through that writing, I've been able to change fundamental things that I would have sworn on a stack of Bibles that story was the truth. Here's an example. I had a story that was like, other people need to change for me to be happy. Yeah, that's a painful story. Other people need to, I have no control over other people. Other people need to change for me to be happy. Right? Oh my God. I'm so glad I don't have that story anymore. I'm so glad that I changed that story to I'm in charge of my happiness. Yay. And I can love and bless other people and I get to be in charge of my happiness. And I'm so much happier than I've ever been my whole life. That's the power of changing your story. So yes, will it help you with your spiritual growth? Absolutely. But the core thing it's going to help you to do is to recognize that you're the creator of your reality and you get to write the ending of your story any way you want, any way you want. You can change the past, you can rewrite the present, and you can create your future all through writing. If you want to join me, I'd love to have you join me. francisfaden.com/write your miracle. And I will teach you everything that I've been doing to help me shift out of really painful stories into a life that is awesome. This is why my company is called Magnify Your Miracles, because I love helping people flip the script, change the story, and start experiencing miracles. All right, my friend, that's everything I wanted to share with you. I would love to know if this resonates with you. Please let me know in the comments below. And please remember, get this story, right? Every week I tell you this same story. Your miracle is already here. Your miracle's already here. It's already here. All right, my friend, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.